Alright guys, so in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how my team ended up getting first place in the Call of Duty Mobile World Championship, specifically Stage 3, and with this, we face top teams, one of which being Loops, which is the opponent we had going into the top 8 qualifiers. I'm going to be showing you guys all 3 games of us completely destroying them, so if you guys do enjoy this video, and let's get straight into the action.
All right, excited to see this one. This is obviously very new to a lot of people watching the newest addition into the competitive map pool, and honestly hasn't even been in COD Mobile for all that long, so I am still very much getting used to casting this one, but
what's our call outs?
P1, P2, P3, P4, those are the only things that I know at this point, but we actually got to play it when my team was playing in Stage 3, so I feel like I've started to get a better grip on it, and it's a hot start for LPZ right here as a double in the feed for Claps. He's going to be able to take down a few with the Switchblade in hand, and this is not the start that I was expecting for Luminosity.
I mean, one thing that I'm actually looking at is the gun selection, because you already know that this season it's a little bit more even. Obviously, the LK24 in the competitive scene in all regions have been dominating it. You can see Tectonic just sporting that. That's going to be impressive. 50 and 30 is going to be your score line. 18 seconds left on the clock. The scrap points already into the favor of Luminosity. So interested to see how they're going to be taking into that rotation into P2, because the most important one is that rotation into P2 to P3, because it's just right beside each other.
Yeah, obviously we talked about Claps being one of those more experienced players. He's the one off to a hot start for LPZ, 5 kills on the board. As expected, Luminosity bouncing back quickly, and it looks like they're already rotated out and ready to go. It is LPZ breaking in on early, but Band hitting a flank right here, trying to clear out the backside. Flashbangs, info checking over the top. Envy, big shots right there, and that should at least enable the contest, but Rush spawns behind. It looks like they're still going to be able to find control of the hard point anyway. LPZ spawns out right here. No, who else but Tectonic sitting in the back to anchor those spawns. Band going to go ahead and look to push up, but LPZ breaking back in and making this one a lot closer than a lot of people expected this to be.
Oh, definitely. I mean, when we're talking about the anchoring points here in P2, LG already has it locked down. You see, they also have that spawn control, but I feel like coming in for LPZ, they do have a little bit more of an advantage rotating into P3. My mistake a while ago, I did say that it's going to be right beside each other, but it's P1 and P2, but that rotation definitely going to be really important here into P3, and Rush is actually going to be there already. And now this is one anchoring spot that you need to have, because the spawns are already right there. He's going to be positioned. Everyone else from his team is already nearby, so this is where they can finally get those points down.
And this is no question of money. Hill, big kill for Bright on the Band right there. Vague's gonna sneak through the vents, and that is a crucial couple of kills. Make it a third as Band's there to clean up on the bottom side, and just like that, Luminosity is broken through and now in position to potentially find a full 60 right here. Vague, more of a flex OBJ for this squad, just putting in damage through the doorway. He's gonna have to hop off for now, but Band pulls out the Sparrow, taken down before he can get max value. Envy sliding on through, claw in hand, and nobody's coming through that doorway anytime soon. Shuts down a couple, is finally going to be taken down, but Luminosity continues to move upward. Contest for Bright for the time being, but not quite enough, and as expected, the newcomers having a rough time over on LPZ. Emilio and Fatality combined for 3 kills so far. They are combined to be 3 and 23. They have got to get going if they want any shot up against this Luminosity roster.
When it comes to the it's actually doing a really good job. It's a matter of going and winning your individual gunfights. And for LPZ, like what you mentioned, it's like these guys need to step it up, because 2 and 2, you're not going to be able to get those hills and those essential rotational gunfights when you're only having those 2 kills. And now, speaking of, Claps is going to be in a really good spot, but he does get tagged up. He needs to get out of there quick. Look at Envy. He's just trying to go and get him. That's going to be really fun. But again, the hard points finally go in there for that rotation. We're finally going into P4. That's going to be batteries. One of the most open hard points, and definitely really difficult to go and defend.
Yep. It's Luminosity continuing to move upward basically since P2. I don't know that we've seen any amount of scrap time go through for LPZ. And once again, those bottom 2 players just really struggling to keep up. It's Washi now on full streaks, and I don't know what happened to the Hunter Killer right there. Maybe got shot out by an enemy, maybe something else. Tectonic just locking down the spawns, and they're right in front of him. It's free kills as long as you want them. They're going to be able to defend on the backside once again. And that is once again allowing Luminosity to pick up the rest of the scrap time here. It looks like they're actually going to opt to give up a little bit of it as they look to push out toward next. And Collapse in a good spot to potentially lock down some early time. Utility's going to go on out, and now or never is the hold for LPZ.
It really is important.
The operator going to be crucial right here, and Vague slides right on through with Purifier.
Like we already mentioned, it's like it's really important that you go in there for an early rotation, but it's just hard because they're always losing a lot of the gunfights inside. Tectonic now with the War Machine knows very well where all the players from LPZ are going to be spawning off to, but just as fast as they were able to rotate here, LPZ already loses it quickly as LG able to sustain it, and they're so good at breaking the hard point. I mean, it's really no surprise. It looks like they're very confident in this really new map, and they just have everything down, locked in.
Yep, Luminosity looking like they're well on their way to a map 1. Taking a look at the operators, obviously in a typical matchup, usage of those could be a make or break for your squad, but for Luminosity, for the most part, it looks like they've basically been able to throw them out whenever they want to. Tectonic picking up the scrap time. No surprise to see Tectonic up at 23, Vague at 24. A couple of world champions right there doing their best to keep their squad on top, and on the flip side, LPZ continues to struggle. Bright needs to go big with the claw right here, and he gets completely obliterated by Vague. Turns and burns out of the player up in top vents as well. And at every turn possible, LG shutting down any type of push out of LPZ. Looking like it might only be a matter of time. The War Machine does come out for Collapse right there. Able to find one, and a nice solid feed could potentially earn them some big time. If they want to make a comeback, now's the time to start.
And that was really good map knowledge coming in from Vague. Was able to turn on that one player. I feel like that was a really significant part, but yeah, like what you said, LPZ is actually getting really good time here, finally possibly breaking into that 100-point club. But just as fast as we said, that rotation needs to set through coming in from LPZ. This is where things kind of fell apart for them. In the first set rotations, they were able to have a really good start, but now we're going into P2, where again, Luminosity Gaming just did a phenomenal job at having that great hold.
Yep, it's some solid time going through for LPZ, but unfortunately for them, it doesn't look like they have the setup to follow it up right here. Envy on a Heady is not going to be an easy thing to deal with, and once again, the LPZ players scrambling to find some semblance of map control. It's score streaks on score streaks for Luminosity, and Vague just waiting for some audio cues to make the peak right here. Maybe just hoping to find a wall bang. He doesn't realize there's somebody jumping on his head, but gets the kill anyway. Washi's gonna pop the Annihilator, continues to farm, and Luminosity only 10 seconds away from a dominant map 1 win. Preddy's gonna pop. That should be a triple for Vague, and that's gonna be enough to seal the deal for Luminosity on map 1.
35 kills for Vague. I mean, what a guy. And when you said that the world champions are definitely here, they're making a statement. So that's really interesting.
Able to save those for a round when you feel like you have a chance to lock things in. We'll see what they can do right here as they do start on the offensive side. And it looks like a full commit on over to B, looking to capture that early. Only one player to watch mid. They are going all out right here. It's going to be Rush, and Band is there to contest off the start already. It looks like they have no idea. He's already made his way up past pillars, and that's going to be a free double kill for him off the start.
There you go. I mean, it's really just that mid-fight that a lot of these teams really try to get, because you're trying to cut off that motivation and the rotation into possibly going into that Bravo flag, which is usually always the point that people want to get first, but now seems like LPZ is trying to go in for that alpha push. But as what they're trying to do, it's like LG is always one step ahead of them. They're finally going in for that heavier defense into mid, and also here in alpha, as one more person is going to be there. Vague gonna try to win this fight out all by himself. He does win that essential gunfight. It's gonna be one more person. Body shots are gonna be here right early on. Possibility to get a second, but Emilio does shut him down.
And Rush actually respawn sniping. This is something we've started to see more and more, especially out of the Chinese and Garena teams, as you have a little bit more predictable spawns when it comes to control, which means your sniper can have that much more potential to control the long lane. So he's got 3 off the start, but as expected, the lives starting to dwindle quickly. Washi doing the same on the flip side, does have the Locust in hand, and right now a 10 life lead for Luminosity, and 0 takes a progression on either of those objectives. Right now, Band looking to patrol the mid-map, see how much he can clean up. A little bit unusual to see him rocking the Holger. He might just be doing that as a flex more than anything else, but definitely widely known as one of the best SMGs in the world. We'll see if maybe he's starting to make a little bit of a transition, but as for right now, they're sitting pretty comfortably up 11 lives, losing a little bit of progress onto A, but even if they get that capture, looking like it's only a matter of time.
Only one player is going to be right there. Washi is supposed to be there for the defense, but you get to see 11 seconds being stopped right there. But just 3 lives to 13 is not going to be easy. I feel like Envy did so much damage when it comes to that spawn trap and giving that information to his team. And finally, we get to see Luminosity getting that first defensive round. And like what we mentioned already, that defense is definitely going to have a little bit more of an upper hand here in control. But now as we see things flipped around, let's see how dominant Luminosity can actually be by potentially winning this attacking round, because it's so easy to go spawn trap here into the special forces base.
And Luminosity's actually going to full commit over to the B side, and there is 0 defense here for LPZ. They are forced to scramble over the other side of the map. They're going to be able to take down Band, but already a solid first tick of progression looking like it's going to come through Bright in that window, but he's got no line of sight onto Envy, and he can sit here as long as he wants to. They've got to force their way in through those end sides. Envy holding down the basketball court entryway, and right now it looks like it's going to be a free A capture. Honestly, LPZ doing a good job of keeping the lives even, but that is no question the easier side to or the more difficult side to capture. So now LG set up perfectly, and Vague is beaming left and right. 11 kills on the board, and it looks like LG might be able to win off of progression alone in a matter of seconds. Will they be able to get things cleared? Right now, LPZ's forced to rush, and that's right down the middle of Tectonic.
Wow, you don't get to see this often, but I mean, LG just doing objective. Didn't even have to worry about their lives. And like what you mentioned, LPZ was able to actually even out when it comes to the life count, but they forgot to defend B, and they sent Big all across there all by himself because B was just absolutely open for him. And like what you said, A is actually going to be way harder to get. They were able to get that, and they just breezed through getting that B. And now we're gonna switch things again as we are finally here at match point. 27-28 gonna be our life count. Let's see what Loops can finally, LPZ rather, can do to get this round.
Emilio's finally started to heat up, 9 kills on the board, and once again, toward the beginning of these rounds, LPZ has done a good job of keeping things even. They haven't been getting spawn trapped badly. Bright's going to be able to take down the Purifier in the hands of Vague. Envy actually lets his claw go to waste as well, and there's still 2 on deck for LPZ, so hope is not lost yet. They're in a good spot, and Rush is going to be able to take down Washi from the sniper position as well, so if they can force their way through the mid-map, get a little bit of map control, might see some ticks of progression come through. Band going to be able to win a big gunfight in the middle of Zig regardless, and right now, the lives looking fairly even, but the big concern, can LPZ find their way onto one of these objectives?
I feel like it's just they're having a difficult time when it comes to anchoring down certain points, because as they're trying to go rotate into Alpha, it was actually pretty open for a little bit. It's like they're so slow when it comes to the comms, and they could have fully rushed into A, where everyone else coming in from Luminosity was still spawning off. So it's just really that 3-dimensional play that LPZ is kind of struggling to pursue.
Yep. And it looks like no take. Oh, they get a player on the objective, but he gets taken down a little too quickly. And even though that one was looking close in the lives, at the end of the day, Control is an objective-based game mode. LPZ did not play that objective. And another quick end of the round as Luminosity take the dominant win and take that first spot in Stage 4.